Hello, a very good evening to you and a warm welcome to Parkhead in Glasgow, where you join us for the second instalment of the Scottish Cup semi-final between St Johnstone and Rangers. When the teams met here on Saturday, it was 0-0, a result really that caused a major football sensation. 24 hours later, it was Celtic powering their way through to the final at Hampden on the 20th of May. Who will join them? Let's find out right now as we take up the story of the rest of tonight's proceedings here at Parkhead by joining our commentator, Jock Brown.
And the injury news from Alec Cotton's camp is that Tommy Coyle is out, but Ian Hennell has made it. He played in his usual place in midfield on the left. But the big shock is that Steve Mascray plays up front, and that represents a major gamble by St Johnstone. He took part in a light training session at Dunblane this morning and came through that, so he plays with Stuart Sorby dropping back to Coyle's midfield role. And there's only one change in that Rangers lineup. Mel Sterland is left out, but the midfield is boosted by the return of Derek Ferguson, and Graham Souness will no doubt be hoping that his shoulder stands up to cup tie action. And there's a huge crowd inside Celtic Park again tonight. In fact, it looks as though there may be even more here tonight than there were on Saturday, and that's clearly a tribute to the efforts of St Johnstone. So Andrew Waddle, the referee from Edinburgh, gets the Scottish Cup semi-final replay underway. Rangers kicking off, and I'm sure they'll be in a very positive mood after the criticism they took on Saturday in the first match. They perhaps know better than anyone else how troublesome St Johnstone were as opponents. But the part-timers from Perth have to lift themselves all over again, only 3 days later, and most of these players have been to work again for a couple of days. So it really is a major task for them to lift their performance to match the Premier League leaders again. But certainly no lack of spirit in their ranks. St Johnstone wearing all red tonight. There's Roddy Grant penalised for handball. Rangers in their familiar blue tops and white shorts. So it's Terry Butcher with the first free kick of the match. Richard Gough has gone forward. Won by Cherry. There's Mascray. Mascray starting the match on the left wing with Sammy Johnston over on the right. Roddy Grant through the middle. There's Derek Ferguson's early pass. Here's Walters. Drinkle takes over. Good effort on the run from Drinkle. Calmly taken by Balavage. Good positive play this. Walters setting it up for Drinkle. The shot well saved. John Brown's header. Butcher will use Chris Woods. Rangers now with Walters operating on the right flank. Inside it goes towards McCoist. There's Walters. Doug Barron challenging. The header by McCoist. It just couldn't have been closer. Great play this from Rangers and from Walters. St Johnstone defenders being very careful not to make an illegal challenge. Walters goes forward. There was McCoist. Balavage was helpless. There's Drinkle, now Walters. Good running by Ferguson, but once again it's Barron who comes across. There's Heddle and Mascray. Firmly challenged by Wilkins. A fine play by Wilkins, a good tackle though by Jenkins. This is Mascray. Through it goes for Johnston, good play by St Johnstone, and superb cover provided there by Stuart Munro. Well, Sammy Johnston perhaps thought for a moment he was in the clear behind Gough and Butcher, but what splendid defending it was from Munro. Well, these throws very dangerous. Long one inside, there was Butcher and Derek Ferguson. Stevens gets it away. Drinkle holding off Cherry. This is McCoist. In the middle is Walters. It's a great chance for Rangers. Chance for the opener. Mark Walters for Rangers. 13 minutes gone. A superbly created opening goal. It was started way back by Kevin Drinkle. Just look at the quality of this pass from Ali McCoist. Straight into the path of Walters. Kenny Thompson was chasing in vain. Balovic came out, and that is first-class finishing. So Mark Walters makes the breakthrough for Rangers, his 17th goal of the season. Well, Graham Souness doesn't look all that happy about things. Well, explaining to the club owner, David Murray, what makes him so unhappy. Here's Heddle, needs support. Spots Mascray over on the far side, but Stuart Munro will get there first. A very confident match at fullback, Stuart Munro for Rangers. Sorby's throw, here's Thompson. Playing in first time. Johnston at the turn, there's Roddy Grant. And it's over for the goal kick. Sammy Johnston trying to cause problems for the Rangers defence. Played in well there first time, and there was the turn by Johnston. Roddy Grant going for the ball. Munro turned it back towards Woods, and it was Johnston who turns it behind. This is Brown. Now Wilkins. Turn made by Drinkle, good running. Chased by Cherry. What another good tackle that was once again. Clearance not quite so good though. Here's Ferguson, tackled by Sorby. Well, St Johnstone really are battling very hard indeed. Wilkins and Johnston looking at each other angrily after that last exchange. The referee was in the way. It was McVicker, brought down by Ferguson. And the referee is going to take some action, I think. Going to have a word with a couple of players. Sammy Johnston, I think, will be involved. So will Derek Ferguson. Well, here was Don McVicker. He had bundled Ferguson away and then was taken right out of the play with that challenge. Derek Ferguson lets that run. Great throw that from Stevens. Here's Wilkins. The early ball inside, too high for McCoist. Jenkins, now Grant, back it goes to Mascray, back for Roddy Grant, a covering player again is Munro. Here's Heddle, good play from St Johnstone. Sammy Johnston now taking on Stevens, and it's well taken by Woods. Well, what incredibly brave play this is from St Johnstone. Sammy Johnston taking on Gary Stevens, pulling the ball across, and Woods took it well. Well, St Johnstone making it clear they're by no means finished yet. Got a goal behind early in the match, but they have certainly battled all the way, and they're not out of it by any means. There's John Brown surging forward and playing it against Kenny Thompson for the corner kick. A late chance for Rangers in the first half to snatch a second. The pitcher goes post area as Walters lines up the corner. There's Richard off, waiting. Headed on by Drinkle, it's off the line by Thompson. By McVicker, in fact, it was, who blocked that right at the post. What a let-off for St Johnstone. Well, the header came from Kevin Drinkle. There it was, Drinkle getting up so well, the keeper was beaten, McVicker was there to protect the post. That keeps St Johnstone very much alive, but there's Mark Walters again. Drinkle and Brown attack the ball, Sorby's back to defend. The big push now being made by Rangers just before the interval, trying to clinch the match. St Johnstone having to battle for all their worth to survive now. That's towards McCoist. Holds it up, waits for Walters. Well, that's good play. Now Gary Stevens. Absolutely brilliant from Stevens. Right on the half-time whistle. The killer goal from Rangers. Superb pass from Monroe. Look at this from McCoy, looking up. He spots Walters. Look at the way he controls this. Goes past one man, looks up, spots Gary Stevens, and there's the first time volley which beat Balavage. 2-0 to Rangers. So Gary Stevens getting his second goal of the season for Rangers, and barely enough time for the kick-off. Well, what a finish to the first half. Mark Walters set Rangers up in 13 minutes. Gary Stevens made it 2 on the half-time whistle, a couple of superb goals. And the half-time score is St Johnstone 0, Rangers 2. Welcome back to Celtic Park for the second half of this replay in the Scottish Cup semi-final. Rangers leading St Johnstone by 2-0. And the terrace is buzzing throughout the interval with the quality of that goal from Gary Stevens right on half-time. There's Ali McCoist. Well, he'll be very anxious indeed to get on the score sheet tonight, you can be sure of that. Set up the first for Rangers, but hasn't had too many looks at goal. That's the quality of the defending of Paul Cherry to thank for that. Monroe's header, there's Drinkle. Brown making progress on the left. The cross comes over, and that's Drinkle! Kevin Drinkle for Rangers. The first minute of the second half, and the St Johnstone hearts now surely are broken. Great surging play on the left from John Brown, sprinting forward, whipping over that cross to near post area. There was Drinkle sliding in, the ball going in off the post. So Drinkle gets his 16th goal of the season, a very impressive season at that. And Rangers now enjoying the occasion to the full, I'm sure. 3 goals ahead, and any thoughts St Johnstone may have had about setting up a fight back surely dispelled by that fine attack from Rangers. There's Steve Mascray, survived the first half well. Sammy Johnston forcing the corner kick off Terry Butcher. Paul Cherry and Doug Barron still coming up for St Johnstone. There's Heddle. Butcher's header out to Sorby, to Johnston. Stolen away by Richard Goff. Finding Brown. That's for Walters. Good tackle by Thompson. Walters gets it back, gets dumped on the seat of his pants by Thompson. And that's a free kick to Rangers. John Balavage. It's really all about pride now for St Johnstone. Wilkins in the free kick. There's John Brown. Well taken on the line by Balavage. But St Johnstone now look as though they may be on the end of a bit of a hammering in this second half. Balavage doing well. Winkle doing well to recover quickly to get to the end of that. Here's Ali McCoist. And a great save from Balavage. Acknowledged by McCoist. Well, look at the power with which he hits this. Taking a pass from Drinkle, thundering that ball in, dipping and swerving, and Balavage made a magnificent save. Butcher is up for Walters' corner kick. All the way through to Wilkins. That just need a touch. McCoy wishes he does put out his foot for that one. Was left there to Wilkins. Off and Butcher, controlled beautifully. There's the left foot shot, angling right across the face of the goal. So Walter Smith has gone from the dugout to have a chat with Graham Souness in the director's box, ensuring no problems about Graham Souness having to leave his seat in the stand. Stevens to Goff. That's one for McCoy to take on the run. Great play from Rangers. And a fine save from Balavage. Well, a top quality pass this from Richard Goff into the path of McCoist on the run, hit with lots of power, and well saved by Balavage. Another on by Wilkins. Winkle towards Walters, but Cherry's there, he loses it out to Walters. Great chance again for Rangers. McCoist this time. 18 minutes into the second half, Ali McCoist gets the goal he's been working so hard for all night. Unlucky that for Paul Cherry, but fine play from Walters. Looks up, sees McCoist coming in the near post, slid into his path, and no chance at all for Balavage. Goal number 16 of a depleted season for Ali McCoist. A substitution being made by St Johnstone. Mike Smith will come on to replace young Stuart Sobey. Off goes Sobey. Worked very hard indeed, the former Alloa player. So a throw to Rangers. There's a substitution going to be made any second. And it's Andy Gray waiting to come on. He will replace Kevin Drinkle. Well, Drinkle has worked as tirelessly as ever tonight, scored one fine goal, involved in setting up the first of the night with the initial pass. Gets tremendous applause going off. And listen to the roar now for Andy Gray. Always a popular figure when he gets the chance to play alongside Ali McCoist after a long time out of the first team scene. There's Gray looking for his first touch, and it's turned back by Heddle. Walters got up well there against McVicker. Here's Andy Gray. And there's a bit of trouble here for Walters. Well, now, what happened after that clash in the air, though, with McVicker? It looks as though Walters had an angry reaction after the event. And referee Andrew Waddle is having a word with the Rangers number 11, who's explaining that he was caught by McVicker. The yellow card. There was the challenge won by Walters. The ball broke there. The two players now clashed. There was the tangle of legs. And the result in the end was a booking for Mark Walters. This is Heddle, and it's a long ball for Grant to chase. Two men waiting in the middle, both substitutes, Mike Smith and John Irvin waiting. Grant goes past one man, looping it in, and Woods takes it well under pressure. Foul given against John Irvin for his attentions on Woods, but this was well played by Grant. Look at the way he goes past Richard Goff, then floats that in towards the near post area. Irvin going in powerfully on Woods. Taken away there by Cherry again. Foul by McVicker on Ferguson. So free kick to Rangers right at the end of the match. The last chance perhaps to finish with a flourish as Stevens plays it in there. The header from Brown. Plays with such commitment and strength, John Brown. The way he launches himself at this free kick from Stevens. But it's well wide of the target. Now referee Andrew Waddle checking with his linesman. Put into time added on for stoppages. There hasn't been a great deal of that in the second half. Stoppage there for Doug Barron. Short time back. With a whistling around the stadium indicating that the fans appear to have had enough. St Johnstone still want to show how they can play though. What a credit they've been to the match. The ball carried over there for a throw to Rangers as Don McVicker went forward. And indeed there goes the final whistle. A brave performance by St Johnstone. but they couldn't handle the might of Rangers tonight. Ali McCoy scored the 4th goal for Rangers, so the 2 first-half goals from Mark Walters and Gary Stevens developed in the second half with Kevin Trinkle's goal in the first minute of the second half. Then Ali McCoy 18 minutes into the second period. Handshakes now from Terry Butcher for the St Johnstone players who leave the field having taken tremendous credit from both matches. They leave with lots of pride. They're saluting their band of supporters. But Rangers go through to the Scottish Cup final on the 20th of May. It'll be Rangers against Celtic on the Scottish Cup final day. The final score tonight, St Johnstone 0, Rangers 4.
Graham, Saturday a disappointment for you. How do you feel about the performance tonight?
Well, Saturday we didn't play well. Tonight we had the right attitude. Basically it's about attitude. We tried to warn them what would happen if they didn't have the correct attitude, because St Johnstone done very well, made it difficult for us. Didn't threaten our goal much, but made it extremely difficult for us on Saturday. Tonight we went out with the proper attitude and done the business tonight. Got some well-worked goals.
But you do appear to have moved into something like a smooth gear tonight.
We came, that's our 3rd game since we came here and won against the Celtic. We played extremely well that day against the Celtic. Then again, we talk about attitudes. We're at home to Motherwell. We didn't do the business that day against opposition, which is difficult. They make life difficult for teams. And then again Saturday, our attitude maybe was slightly off. And as I said before, if your attitude is not right, there hasn't been a player born who can go out there with an attitude operating on 80% and do the business.
Well, you're not going to have any attitude problems, I wouldn't think, for the final. Your first Scottish Cup final, have you had a chance to think about that at all?
Not at all. We've got a lot of important games, starting with St Mirren on Saturday. We've got a lot of important games before May the 20th. And I've always said that the priority, as long as I'm manager at Glasgow Rangers, would be the league. The league's the big one, and that's the one I'd want more than anything else.
The Scottish Cup is something you haven't had a good record in since you came here.
English Cup. I won an Italian Cup, but that doesn't count, I don't suppose. Never won an English Cup. Never come anywhere near the Scottish Cup. So I'm hoping that, as I said, I want my players to go out on May the 20th and perform to what they're capable of. And if they do that, I'm prepared to take what the result is. I'll accept the result there.
We look forward to it. Thanks very much, Graham.
Jock Brown talking